Sabah is blessed with some of the world's most diverse and resilient forests. It not only provides habitats for thousands of species dwelling within the forest, but also plays a crucial role in climate regulation and sustainable development. Through decades of responsible stewardship and internationally recognized forest management practices, these forests continue to thrive as a vital source of natural assets for biodiversity, livelihoods, and long-term climate solutions. Our natural forests are vibrant ecosystems, carefully managed to maintain biodiversity, protect water sources, and store carbon. Mature trees are selectively harvested under sustainable forest management practices that allow natural regeneration while helping to combat climate change by preserving the forest's role as a vital carbon sink for future generations.
So sustainable forest management is finding the right mix of land use that enables us to keep forests as forests in the long term. To do this in the current circumstances, we need to balance the economic needs, the social needs of the people of Sabah with the increasing importance of keeping the natural environment intact. Without sustainable forest management, I don't think this is possible to find that balance.
The FMU companies applied reduced impact logging to minimize disturbance and protect the forest ecosystem. Today, about 43 sustainable forest management license agreements have been signed to manage a total of 1.6 million hectares of forest management units.
Setiap nomor ini dia ada dalam senarai buku. Kalau kita sudah tumbang ini tag dia, kita tengok dalam sistem nanti apa spesies dia, berapa dBH dia. Sebelum kena harvest ni dia sudah ada satu tim sudah dipasang ni. Lepas tu dia akan rancang semua jalan untuk macam mana mau tarik ini kayu ni lah yang sudah kena take ni. Jadi selepas dia habis sudah muat tu dia punya data semua tu akan kena bagi sama jabatan untuk kelulusan untuk harvest lah seterusnya. Jadi bila sudah dapat kelulusan baru kita boleh sekarang ni lah boleh tumbang sudah.
Once harvested, each log is tagged, recorded, and transported along designated routes to the log yard. All of these were done in compliance with the Sabah Timber Legality Assurance System.
Sabah TLAS is a system of legality verification supported by the Forestry Department and independently verified by Global Forestry Services. And it covers all the forest areas, all the licensed forest areas, as well as all the licensed factories within the state of Sabah to verify compliance to the Sabah TLAS requirements, which are based on legal regulations of Sabah in terms of forest management, in terms of operating mills, etc. So the functions of Sabah TLAS mainly are to support the government regulatory system to verify compliance and making sure all the forestry operations are complying to the government requirements, and also the mills and the trade and the material flows, etc., between the forest and the mills, as well as the sales and exports of material are all compliant to legal requirements. So it's a support mechanism for forestry. It is mandatory. It is not voluntary.
At the log yard, the timber is sorted, graded, and checked for compliance before being transported to downstream mills for processing. The logs are sawn into rough timber or further processed into veneer, plywood, or engineered wood. In later stages, these products are transformed into value-added items such as furniture, flooring, and structural materials. Each step is traced to ensure that the timber originates from responsibly managed forests.
Our materials are sourced locally, 100% produced in Sabah. And we work with a handful of suppliers whom we know quite well. And independently audited and mandatory TLAS system is making it convenient for legal materials sourcing in Sabah. Sabah TLAS stands for Sabah Timber Legality Assurance System, conveniently allowing us to trace legality via the chain of custody. It automatically helps entering markets like Australia and Europe, who require importers to exercise due diligence in procurement of timber.
The element for TLAS, Sabah TLAS, is to provide a credible system of legality to international markets for their own supporting system of regulatory compliance, and to provide a credible system that has all the key elements of certification, which are the sustainability of resources, timber resources, environmental protection, whether it's wildlife or buffer zones or steep slopes or whatever the conservation and protected zones that are required, as well as the labor requirements or the social benefits to local communities, native populations, etc.
In addition to its natural forests, Sabah has established well-managed industrial tree plantations to ensure long-term timber supply and reduce pressure on natural forests.
Why have we developed industrial tree plantation is actually to replace and substitute the utilization of tropical timber, hence reducing the pressure of our national forests. That is the whole idea, to replace and substitute the utilization of tropical timber.
With the long-term goal of that is to reduce the harvesting demands from the natural forest. If managed well, we can get 3 to 4 times more efficiency from ITPs versus the natural forest.
So in Sabah, we have about 600,000 hectares identified for ITP, of which about 400,000 hectares of that is plantable or productive. That would produce about approximately 8 million cubic meters a year. That would create a very, very large increase in the GDP of Sabah. How that will be sustainable is you need to identify species that will grow well in Sabah. There are a lot of fast-growing species that are indigenous to Sabah, but they are very site-specific. So plantation managers have to make sure that they do a site-species matching before they start doing the bulk plantings.
Seedlings are grown into dedicated nurseries, using improved genetic material to ensure healthy, fast-growing trees. Once planted, the young trees are carefully maintained with regular monitoring and silvicultural practices to promote optimal growth and resilience. After years of sustainable cultivation, the matured plantation trees are harvested and transported to downstream mills.
If you are familiar with the fast-growing species that are planted in Sabah, they can already replace quite a majority of species of similar density that we use from the tropical forests in many applications, such as construction, door manufacturing, furniture manufacturing. So we have already identified species that can replace and substitute tropical timber.
The plantation logs are processed into sawn timber, veneer, and a range of engineered wood products, supporting Sabah's growing downstream and value-added manufacturing sector.
So ITP plays a big role because it creates a lot of employment for the rural communities, and also it is more renewable and sustainable compared to the natural forest. Climate change is a very serious issue now. There are a lot of forests that are set aside for carbon projects. I believe ITP is a solution for us to lead to greater conservation of our forests, and that will lead to bigger carbon projects where we do not need to touch the forest any longer. And of course, you can see the multitude of products that we have here, which we have developed, are already flowing into the market. Our customers and our partners have already exported the products of full ITP, plywood, laminated veneer lumber to markets such as Japan and also to the EU countries. So I believe ITP is the future.
We can see that the world consumptions of timber is not on the decrease but on the increase. So definitely, as far as STIA is concerned, we want to see the member, or the people who are involved in the upstream, the planters, to speed up the planting, and want the government to have a more friendly policy to encourage more planting and to give them incentive or incentivize them to plant, to replace the consumptions logging from the natural forest, so that to be in line with the world. We want to see that's happening, but on top of that, for the industry is concerned, we have to progress as well to upgrade our machineries, adopt the Industrial 4.0, to introduce AI technologies into the productions that actually help out to speed up to have more efficient way of production, producing the products. And we want to see more downstream industry to be developed with the introductions of more planted species made available in Sabah.